So far, we have learned 6 characters. They are 一、二、三、十、土、王. Out of the 6 characters, only 2 of them have multiple meanings depending on the context. 土 can mean dirt or ground. 王 can mean king or a common last name. When you are learning a character, you do not need to learn all the meanings of a character. I will provide the essential ones. As you learn more, you will expand your knowledge. This way, we can build a solid foundation one step at a time, instead of feeling overwhelmed. Our other 4 characters have only one meaning so far. However, it's important to note that one character can have multiple meanings. And a character does not always equal to a word. If I want to say the number 11, we do not have one single character that represents 11. We put 2 characters next to each other to represent the word 11. First, we are going to do a little bit of math. We will only be doing some basic calculations, so don't sweat. What would you put in the blank in this formula? 10 plus what equals to 11? 10 plus 1. How do we write 10 in Chinese? 10. How do we write 1 in Chinese? 一. Now put them next to each other. We'll have something like this. How do we read this word? We read one character at a time. So this reads 十一, 十一, which means 11. This is an important concept as most of our words have 2 syllables. We do have words that are simply one character like the ones we have learned so far. The awesome thing about it is that the pinyin does not change. You simply read one character at a time. How cool is that? Let's look at another example. What would you put in the following formula? 10 plus what equals to 12? Yep, 2. How do we write 10 in Chinese? How do we write 2 in Chinese? Now, how do we write 12 in Chinese? We just need to put them next to each other. So we have 12, 12. We will not be learning just characters. We will also learn how to read them. So as we progress, we will not only know individual characters, but also be able to read words, phrases, and even sentences. I'm really excited to take you through this journey. There is one more concept we need to cover before we move on. One thing I love about Mandarin Chinese is that each character has only one syllable. When you see one character, you know it makes only one sound. So if you hear 3 syllables, then you know the phrase has 3 characters. For example, if you hear 13, you hear 2 syllables. So that means this word is composed of 2 characters. 13. So if we hear 32, we know there are 3 characters. In fact, you already know those 3 characters. Take a look. 32. 32. 3 is 3, 10 is 10, and 2 is 2. Now, before you try to add them all up, this one is slightly different. This one is actually 3 times 10 plus 2, which equals to 32. And this is how we say 32. Now, let's take a look at how we structure numbers. For numbers 11 to 19, we start with a 10, then we follow up with the remainder. In that case, if we take 10 away from 11, we are left with 1. So we have 11, and this structure applies to 11 all the way to 19. The ones we know already, as in characters, are the first 3. So we have 11, 12, 13 to represent 11, 12, and 13. Numbers 20 to 90. In this case, instead of addition, we are going to be doing multiplication. We think in tens for numbers 20 to 90. For example, 20 has two tens, so we'll have 20 to 10. Let's take a look at 30. 30 has three tens, so we have 30. This structure goes all the way from 20 to 90. Based on the characters we know already, we know how to write 20 and 30. And they are 20, 30. For numbers 21 to 29, we built upon our previous structure and follow up with the remainder. So 20 is 20, and 3 is 3. So altogether we have 23. This structure applies from 21 to 29. With the characters we learned already, we know how to write 21, 22, and 23. We also use this for numbers 21 all the way to 99. Once you master numbers 1 to 10, you'll be able to say all the numbers from 1 to 99. I have a podcast episode on how to say numbers 1 to 99. You can check it out here. It's time for a quiz. 1. How do you say 22? How do you say 32? 3. How do you say 12? Now let's take a look at the answers. 1. 20 is B, and that is 20. 2. 32 is A, 32. Last one, number 3, and that is, what? Number 3, 12 is A, 12. Recap, let's see what we learned in this lesson. First, a character can have multiple meanings. For example, our Wang means king, and it's also a common last name. A character does not equal to a word. To say the word or number 32, we actually use 3 characters. It is 32. 32. One character, one syllable. If you hear 30, 2 syllables, then you know there are 2 characters. There is logic to our number system. 11 is 10 plus 1, 10 is 10, and 1 is 1, so 11 is 11. 20 is 2 times 10, 2 is 2, and 10 is 10, so 20 is 20. 23 builds upon our previous formula. We simply follow up with the remainder after we get our 20. So we have 2 times 10 plus 3. 2 is 2, 10 is 10, and 3 is 3. So altogether we have 23. Okay, let's go meet our next set of characters. See you in a bit. Bye!